ahead of us, we have the Heats versus the Rebels under 18 Boys Cup section. And we're off away with a Heat sideline hit. This is the first game for these franchises, for these under 18 boys. Quite a high press from the Rebels. Quite a nippy evening here at Western Province Cricket Club. If you are in the area, please feel free to pop down. There is always an absolute vibe at CPL. For the 6th edition, we've got lovely food trucks on the side, and the Heat make a circle entry, and unfortunately brought out by the Rebels. Great defending, and the Rebels are attempting to make that circle entry, but unfortunately fall short to a sideline hit. Some noticeable players here in the Heat and the Rebels team. We've got quite a few marquee players for CPL 6.0. We've got Jordan Paulson and Old Boy for Weinberg. Zach Gibbon on the ball for the Rebels, attempts to make that circle entry and picked up by the Heat. Down the side. Some good pressure from the Rebels team, managing to keep this Heat's team at bay. In the corner, and it's a Rebel advantage. Trough down the back. Oh, bit of a fumble by the Rebels. Great passing by the Heat, unfortunately picked up by the strong Rebel defense. As we said, this is their first game for these under 18 boys, so we are going to see, at least for this first chukker, some back and forth. Obviously at CPL they've got 2.5-hour training sessions ahead of their match weekend, so whether or not they manage to put together a plan that works for the players that have been placed or selected for their teams is anybody's bet. Again, the Heat's boy just missing that and giving the Rebels a sideline hit. The Heat's coming in with quite a high press, definitely creating that pressure cooker situation here in this 25 of the Rebels. And that's a sideline hit for the Rebels. Again, some back and forth double turnovers in this first chukker of CPL 6.0. Weekend 1, or weekend 2, I beg your pardon. Last weekend we did have the under 12s and under 14s with quite a few franchises already named champions of those age groups. Great pass, circle entry to the middle. Oh, against the post. Ooh, whether or not that was over the line is definitely debatable. I think the umpire themselves wasn't able to see that. An advantage call just outside the D. Advantage for the Rebels. That was an absolutely close one. I'm sure the vibes would have been extremely high in the Rebels team had they have scored that. Another circle entry. He's got a touch on it. Bit of a back and forth, and the Heats come out of it, managing to clear that outside the 25. Overhead into the D, with it going wide, and it's a 16 for the Rebels. Good overhead. Some apprehension from this Rebel side whether or not to go forward from that overhead or whether or not to pass it back and drop it around to maybe get an easier pass towards the D, but we see that it is a Heat ball now. Overhead to the Heat's player, Charlie Naylor, a pupil of Redham Constantia, managing to get that advantage. Again, pressure cooker situations here. The Rebels boys not giving them an inch. Great to see these Heat boys working together to try and get their circle entry. Shot. Unfortunately, nobody there to receive that shot, and maybe deflected in. Rebels boys picking it up. Heat's back. Bit of a trip, and umpire calls the advantage for that. Again, quite a nippy evening here at Province Cricket Club. I'm sure the Astro is absolutely slick. Ball in the D. Oh, Heat boys playing with it just in front of the keeper. Definitely a tight situation there. And the Rebels are on it. Jordan Paulson, Weinberg pupil. Whoop, Rebels are on it, trying to make that circle entry. Good pickup, unfortunately placed on the foot. Joe LaRue, Sachs pupil, on the ball now, looking to get it across the field apparently, up down the side, and back trough. Obviously, the Rebels are tight on this Heat backs. Sideline. Heats make a circle entry. Unfortunately, it's over the baseline. 16 for the Rebels. First chucker of any game is always quite interesting to watch players decide whether or not they are going to put themselves into this tough situation. These 1v1s, put them into the corner, as we saw now between some of these Heats players, whether or not they're going to put themselves in that corner, because at the end of the day, it's the first chucker. Do you want to play it safe, or do you want to test the waters? First chucker, first game of CPL weekend 2.0. attempt to make their circle entry. Umpire calls advantage, no call made. The Rebels just managed to clip that. Can he get to it? He does. Whether or not he has players to help him, he attempts to go down to T-point, but unfortunately gets taken out by one of those Heat's defenders. And the Heat are back on a counter. Straight across the field, trying to buy his teammates some space, and he shot at goal, and unfortunately both of those Heat's players miss. One actually clipping a Rebels player. Umpire just checking if he's alright. Seems to be good. We are now Rebels free hit. Rebel advantage. They decide to play an overhead into what seems like quite an open middle patch of the field to Zach Gibbon, a Weinberg pupil, Weinberg Boys High School. Oh, another overhead into the D. Unfortunately, nothing to come from that. And that brings us to the end of the first chukker here at Western Province Cricket Club for weekend 2 of CPL 6.0. We are here with the under-18 boys cup section, the Rebels versus Heats franchise. The Heats being coached by Pierre Leroux of Sachs High School. Definitely a CPL local at this point. I mean, after six editions of coaching and managing his franchise, he's definitely got CPL in his blood at this point. If you don't know already, CPL 6.0 occurs across Cape Town at venues like Province Cricket Club, where we are now, Pinelands, Conberg Hockey Club, Weinberg Boys High School. There are venues all over, so please, if you are free the weekend, be sure to pop down to one of our venues. Fixtures can be found on our Facebook and Instagram pages at CT Prem League. You're bound to meet someone you know. If you're a hockey fanatic, you'll see a lot of people that you know. But it is game on for Chukker 2 here at Western Province Cricket Club. Ooh, some slick moves by the Heats player. And circle entry, an attempt to go at goal. Unfortunately, nothing comes from it. Seems like we are in for a long corner. Decides to play it back. Slap in. Oh, unfortunately, umpire calls that. The Rebels free hit. Rebels decide to go with an overhead. Well received by the Heat player, leading to his advantage. Down the lines by the Heat player. Attempts to make a circle entry, enters the circle. With the Rebels attempting to pick that up, being brought back. Couple double turnovers, and the Rebels seem to take that. Rebels attempting to slow down this game and try and play their level of hockey. Ooh, a bit of a fumble on that overhead. circle entry. Fortunately picked up by the Heats. With the Heats attempting to bring it out down the line, attacked by the Rebels player. Heats attempt to throw an overhead to get out that corner situation. Unfortunately, the player who attempted to receive the ball was right next to a Rebels player, and as we know, that is called as dangerous by the umpire, leading to a Rebels free hit. Straight in, unfortunately, no one to give us that deflection that we were looking for. It's Chaka 2 here at Western Province Cricket Club. Pitch A, where we've got the Heats versus the Rebels. Under 18 Boys Cup section. Nothing on the scoreboard yet, and I think definitely the first franchise to score a goal here is going to get that edge, that vibe, that aura to take them through the rest of this tournament. Down the middle by the Heat, received by a player within the 23. Unfortunately, the Rebels defenders managed to handle that situation quite well. Oh, just clipped by a Rebels player. It's a Heat free hit along the line. Definitely lots of back and forth in this game. Again, for these under 18 boys, this is their first game of CPL 6.0. With just two 1 hour and a half practices under their belt. Whether or not they're comfortable in the game plan that these elite coaches provide with them is a question that needs to be asked, especially in these first few games that they play. Good pickup by the Rebels. Attempts to play it in. Unfortunately, good step by the Heats defenders, with the Heats having the ball and being able to make that run. The Heats managed to find a player who just clips it. Is he able to get it? Unfortunately, diving to try and save that sideline ball. He's definitely giving his all for his franchise. Oh, good step by the Heat. Unfortunately, another sideline hit for the Rebels. Again, the Heat's forwards trying to just step between those troughing backs to try and get that leeway into the circle. Some real back and forth between these two franchises. It's going to be interesting to see who decides to make the next break and where our next circle entry comes from. And umpire calls time. Unfortunately, it does look like a head collision. Definitely want to make sure that he's alright. Heat's player says, I'm not going down, shakes his head and is back on the field, definitely ready for what's to come. And we've got a bully. Rebels player backs off and allows the Heat the advantage in the situation. Matthew Lassen on the ball for the Heats. Blow against. bit confused, but asking the umpire why. Nonetheless, the game goes on. Jordan Paulson on the ball. Keats make a break into the D. Oh, shot at D, saved by the keeper. The Heat's attempt and get another circle entry, unfortunately advantage called for the Red Bulls. Long corner for the Rebels. Rebels decides to go at it. Into the pressure cooker he goes, right into the corner, looking for another player, perhaps someone is going to give him a hand. He looks and he manages to get a foot very well dealt with there by the Rebels player. Manages to find a player to bring it out for a trough with an attempt at a circle entry there, unfortunately a turnover by the Heats. Sideline hit by the Rebels. Overhead into the D. Unfortunately, no one there to receive it, or someone there to receive it. Just not managing. Again, lots of these double turnovers. Slap up the line by the Rebels. Managed to be picked up by one of his players who gets the advantage, and he decides to go. To baseline, long T-point, along baseline. Looks for a player up at P-spot. Unfortunately, the Heat's defenders just getting in the right position and stopping that hit. Umpire calls advantage. Advantage for the Rebels, just outside the D. Along the baseline, he attempts to do that yet again. Unfortunately, umpire calls danger. And it's a Heat 16 taken very quickly. Matt Lassen on the ball manages to clip a foot. Again, an umpire plays advantage. Game's on. Circle entry by the Heats, unfortunately picked up by the Reb. Double turnover. I said this game is full of double turnovers. The Heats taking a little bit of a breather, trying to plan their next move, and he goes into the circle, finds a player. Flick at goal. Unfortunately, keeper saves it, manages to direct it right outside the D. With a Heat sideline ball. Sometimes with these double turnover games, it's a little bit smarter to trough back, especially when you're given the advantage, to really make the right decisions. And we're in the D, again, umpire calls Rebels advantage. really taking your time to play your level of hockey, the plan that your coach has decided to put together for you might be a way that these teams decide to combat this double turnover hockey, this up and down hockey. And we are half-time here at Western Province Cricket Club. Again, if you are just joining us, we are here at Western Province Cricket Club, Astro A, with the Under-18 Boys Cup section. Heats versus Royals at CPL 6.0. The Heat seem ready to go. We are currently at 0-0, not a goal to be scored yet in this game. It would have been interesting to hear what some of these coaches had to say in their team talks, given the stalemate that we seem to be on back and forth for the first half of this game. Perhaps the instruction was score some goals. Ethan Daniels on the ball, unfortunately tackled by the Rebels player Zach Gibbon. The Rebels boys managing to find those spaces, attempting to make the break. Unfortunately taken down. Daniels on the ball again. Ethan Daniels and current pupil of Weinberg Boys High School. The Rebels make a break. It's 1v1 versus the keeper, and he attempts at a backstick. Unfortunately, keeper manages to, or not even keeper managing to deflect it. Unfortunately, that was off target, as shown by the umpire giving that 16. And the Heat's attempt to make it up the line again. Circle entry, hits in the D. Oh, unfortunately, shot taken, no advantage. Deflected by the keeper with a Heat sideline ball. Attempting to make that circle entry made, a little bit of a scramble for the ball. The Heat's just looking for a player that has literally inches more space to try and get that shot off and score a goal. Rebels making leeway, unfortunately picked up by the Heat. With the umpire calling advantage. Overhead into the corner. The Heat player unfortunately missing it. I think he's definitely going to be checking for a hole in his stick because he seemed to be ready to pounce toward the goal, trying to give us first goal of this match. Unfortunately, milliseconds too late. A line ball for the Heat. And he attempts to go straight in. The Heat's boys, unfortunately, don't manage to catch any advantage in that D, nor are they able to get the ball across the face of the goals to try and get a deflection in. I'm assuming that was the attempt at that run down at the baseline. Rebels boys taking their time, trying to find the ball. Down the line for the Rebels, manages to find a player that's open. Can he get there? Unfortunately, the ball's just too quick. The Heat managing to draw those three players into the center, attempting to out the side. Inches. Calling that out. Again, double turnover. Or not. Heat sideline ball. Down the baseline for the Heat, looking for a player. Rebels advantage. As you know, CPL is home to some of the best players in the Western Cape and Boland regions, stretching out all across the province actually, all the way. We've got players from Hermanus, from Oudtshoorn, players from Grabo. So we definitely have some of the best players in this southern region of South Africa. And so when you put the best players against each other, unfortunately sometimes you do get these stalemates. And you see that the level of hockey is not to blame here. This is an excellent game, lots of back and forth. But whether or not one team is able to show their superiority and maybe get a goal on the scoreboard is a question yet to be answered. I can guarantee that the first team to do so will be extremely happy. Ooh, overhead in, slapped down by the keeper. Rebels attempting to hit the ball out. Umpire calling. Looks like a short corner. As we said, this is definitely something that the Heats want to capitalize on. This is the first short corner of the game. No goals on the scoreboard yet. And the question now is, what are they going to do with the short corner? Whether or not they're going to decide for the straight flick and play it safe, or attempt to do a variation, given that sometimes the flick is often saved. A little bit of a variation. One of the Heat's players calling for a P flick. Unfortunately, umpire calls a reward. The Rebels boys set up. The Heat prepare for that reward. Straight poke. top right. Flicker on his knees. Joe LaRue, a Sax pupil, definitely one of the best in the country. He had an outstanding IPT, making one of the SA sides, if I'm not mistaken. A Princess player. And Coachy says, all right, score the goal, you're off. Have a breather. I think the energies at Western Province Cricket Club have definitely changed. I can definitely hear it in the stands. Parents screaming a little bit louder now that the stalemate has been broken. The Heat tend to make that circle entry again. Oh, another goal. Well done to the Heats. As I said, once bit of contention. Umpires chatting. The goal stands. As I said, once that first goal gets scored, the energies on the Astro are bound to change. That stalemate has been broken, and whether or not the Rebels will be able to come back from this 2-0 deficit is a question yet to be answered. Rebels player unfortunately just missing that pass from Jordan Paulson. The pressure is on. Third chukker of this match. Bit of a fumble by the Heat. Jordan Paulson looks up, attempts to make that entry into the 25. Unfortunately, just misses it. Picked up by another Rebels player, and they managed to get the advantage. Umpire says just outside. Ethan Lee on the ball. Ethan Lee of Wynberg Boys High School makes that circle entry. Good tackle. Long corner for the Rebels. Another long corner. Oh. Placed. And umpire calls short corner. First short corner for the Rebels franchise here. CPL 6.0 and the 18 Boys Cup section. They are definitely looking to capitalize on this. I know in this Rebel team we've got quite a few flickers, so whether or not they decide to just play it safe and go for that straight flick. Let's have a look. Pusher lines up. Umpire calls. Seemed to attempt a deflection there from Jordan Paulson. Unfortunately, deflected into another player whose deflection went a little bit wide and attempted another circle entry. Sideline hit just outside the 23. Charlie Naylor on the ball. Circle entry by the Heats across. Unfortunately, Rebels in the prime position to protect that ball just in front of the keeper. In the corner, an overhead outside the 25. Umpire blows. And a card is given for the Rebels. That's a green card. brings us to the end of the third chakra here at Western Province Cricket Club. If you are just joining us or have joined us recently, we are here at weekend 2 of CPL 6.0, what's usually known as the senior weekend, having the under 12s and under 14s played last weekend and the under 16s and under 18s playing this weekend. We are at Province Cricket Club, pitch A, with the under 18 boys cup section, the Heats versus the Rebels. It's been an interesting game with the Heats managing to bag 2 goals in that last chakra. Whether or not they're able to maintain that lead, I think one of the interesting things to see now would be how the Rebels decide to react. Obviously, their goals, the Heat's goals, were scored, one from a short corner and one from a field goal that was just after the short corner, which means that the Rebels had just lost focus. So whether or not that was a lapse in judgment or what, we'll see now as we head into the fourth chakra of this match. Fourth chakra on here at Western Province Cricket Club. The Heats attempt to make a quick circle entry, and they manage to do it. Up to P spot, unfortunately no one there to receive it. Oh, good pick up by the Rebels. Unfortunately, ball just a bit too quick to Zach Gibbons' legs. Calling advantage for the Heats just outside of the D. The Heats play it back, unfortunately missing his player, leading to a Rebels sideline ball. Rebels decide to play it quick, popped over the Heats. Run down the line, a single-handed dribble. Zach Gibbon attempts to make that circle entry, unfortunately, or fortunately, gets the blow 4. Jordan Paulson plays it quick, he has a little bit of time. Shot at the, unfortunately, save point. Another attempt at goal, bit of a scramble, picked up by the Heat's defender, picked up quite well with the Heat's advantage. Umpire calling for the ball to be brought back onto the 23. Manages to find a player. Shot at goal from the Heat. Again, managing just to have enough time to get that shot off, with the Rebels defender right on his back. Overhead, attempting to find a Rebels player free, unfortunately missed traps. Troughing around the back, trying to find that perfect pass through. Umpire blows. Ball for the Heats. The Heats again trying to play it quickly. sideline ball. The Heat's under a little bit of pressure from this Rebel side. But managing to find another player from the Heat's defender. Heat's attempting to take it quick again down the line. Unfortunately, the Rebels do react. Bit of a stick tackle. Rebels make some leeway. Jordan Paulson on the ball. Manages to get into the D. Jordan attempting to find another Rebels player, unfortunately with a wall of red and orange in front of him. Rebel turnover. Ball in. Ball into the keeper. A great pickup for the Heat. Double turnover. Rebels ball. Rebels attempting to just get it in the D, hoping that somebody picks it up. Heat's managing to pick it up. It's the Heat's advantage just outside the D. Ball's entered, unfortunately, going just wide. It is now a Rebels short, long 16. Rebels overhead, picked out by Heat's player. Heat stopping just to scan the field. Finds a man on the side. Back in. Ball into the 23. Ooh, the Rebels attempt to play a quick game. Realizing that this is the fourth chukker and there are 2 goals down, I'm sure the Rebels really want to get a goal on the scoreboard. Ball in. Oh, just missed by Rebels player. Heat's on the ball. Flips it into the D. Bit of a scramble. Umpire calls advantage for the Heat. The Rebels, I apologize. Heat sideline. Given the time remaining of this fourth chukker, the Rebels are definitely trying to play that ball quick. They've got just under 4 minutes remaining. 4 minutes to score 2 goals is definitely not impossible. Umpire calling advantage for the Rebels. The Rebels taking time to set up. Rebels players trying to find each other. Picked up by the Heat. The Heat with the 3D skill. Taken out over the halfway. Well managed by the Rebels player. Overhead. Rebels advantage again. Rebels playing extremely quickly. Trying to make up some time and score the 2 goals needed. Missed by one of the Rebels forwards, unfortunately. That's Ethan Lee. managing to find a play on the sideline. Rebels picking it up. Heats managed to get a 23 entry. Ball in the D. Lots of Heats players around. Unfortunately, none managing to get their stick on the ball. Ball in the back of the net. It is Rebel 16. The Heats are on it, decide to play it back. A little bit of a trough, player scanning. Overhead, unfortunately received by the Rebels player. Rebels looking to get some numbers ahead. Managed to find each other, attempting to play within those triangles. Straight through the D, unfortunately. Two Heats players attempting to make it, but just coming short. And that is game over for the Heats versus Rebels here at CPL 6.0. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. There are many more games to be watched here